What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and I wanted to talk about the measurements from my cut. So today is 6/16/2019, and I just took more measurements for my cut to see how many inches I've lost just across the board. So I wanted to get into that, and I'll tell you right now, I've lost about 7.5 inches total. That's off of all body part measurements aggregated together relative to when I started to today. So I'm going to get into more of those details, but before I get into all of that, let me just give you some context. The month of June, I decided that I'm going to be doing a cut from 231 is where I started at, 231 pounds. If you want to see where I'm currently at, when I did a in-body scan, this was called in-body, it is, I think I was at 223.6 pounds at about 2 weeks in, so about 7.5 pounds I had lost total. So 7.5 pounds of weight loss, and if you go through the measurements, like clearly everything is going to be getting smaller. Very, very interesting actually is not everything got smaller. So but I think that might have to do with the measurements that I initially took for some of these things. So there's 3 levers that I'm messing with to manipulate the fat loss over this 30-day period. So I've got about 2 weeks left, 14 days or so. The first is the diet, so changing the amount of calories that I'm intaking, changing the macronutrients within that. I've cut back on the carbohydrates pretty hard, and I cut back on fat a little bit as well. If you want to see my weekly shopping list of like exactly what I'm going to be consuming, check out, I think it's 2 videos before this one. I spend about $90 a week, and that is basically what I'm going to be consuming for the next 7 days. And you make just minor tweaks, and if you can cut 40 calories here and 36 calories there and another 40 calories there, there's, you know what I mean, 120 calories or something like that, plus increased activity level, which leads me to number 2, right? The first lever is diet. Second is activity. Activity is broken down into 2 categories for me. That is cardio, but also in the actual exercise. Cardio just has been a progressive, fairly linear progression from the beginning of the month till now. I'm not tracking that hard, which would probably be helpful, but generally speaking, about an hour of LISS, which is low intensity, steady state cardio per day. I would say 6 days a week, so there's 2 weeks left. We're gonna go even more hardcore with this. So probably at least 7 days a week, and we're going to hit, actually I would say probably an hour and, if you looked over the last 7 days, I would say probably an hour and 10 to an hour and 20 minutes on average per day. I'm going to continue to up that. That was also probably 5 to 5.5 days, because I don't remember. I believe I took 1 day off at least from the cardio. Anyways, the progression going forward is going to be ramping up the activity level from a cardio standpoint. Now from a exercise standpoint, increasing the volume of work that I'm doing. The exercises are not changing. The reps that I'm doing are about the same of what I was before. Strength is not really first of all, it's not really anything I ever concerned myself with, but the strength is, I'm lifting like the same amount. Today is going to be chest day, so I would expect the chest to still be about where I was, doing sets with 225 plus for the majority of my chest routine, but I've been adding in just a little bit more, maybe another exercise. Still in that, 8 to 12, 8 to 15 rep range, but just 1, maybe 2 more exercises of 3 or 4 sets. So the volume of the exercise is increasing, which is a form of exercise, right? Or a form of cardio. Cardio relates to the heart, right? So a lot of people think that cardio has to be done through running or jogging or some other form. But cardio relates to the heart. So if you're doing something that elevates your heart rate, that is a form of cardio. Hashtag X, right? Thumbs up for that shit. Now, last and third is the compounds or drugs, SARMs and whatnot, that I am using to help manipulate that. So if you want to check out that video, it is right after or right before the food video I just mentioned on the channel. Just click on the channel, look through the last couple, probably 2 to 3 videos, and you'll see the one where it's a stack or drugs or SARMs update of exactly what I am taking. So if you're curious about that, go check out the channel. If you want to also follow along with this next 2 weeks, and other crazy shit that I'm doing, make sure you press that subscribe button, and there's a little bell notification. If you just tap that bell, then YouTube will notify you every time I post a new video. Alright, now, with all that being said, let's get into it. The area that I lost the biggest in terms of inches, you can take a guess down below in the comments, and then I will let you know if you are right. So, the measurements I took were shoulders, chest, waist, a vacuum, meaning the exercise where you suck in your stomach, right? You're working your transverse abdominis. My left arm, right right at the tricep and the bicep right around here. The quad, upper quad, left and right, and calves, left and right. So down below in the comments, let me know where you think I lost the largest amount. So the area that I actually gained in was my left calf. However, I think that was probably, actually I'm sorry, the area that I gained in was my right calf, but I think that was a measurement error. I gained by a 0.08 inches, so I think it's still too small, and that's exactly the same amount that I lost on my left calf. So my right calf, according to my measurements, by the way, for the measurements, I am using a Myo tape. The reason I taped it here is because this thing always falls out, and that's fucking annoying. So you just pull this out, right? And then you press this button, and you can get the measurement just like that, right? Of what it is on this side over here. So I did that all through measurements, and then I did it again, and then I took the average of the 2 measurements. So that is how I did the measurements. And the first time I actually did it 3 times. So it's possible that my right calf was either the measurement was off, or that it's just actually bigger. It's definitely possible. It's just marginally bigger, or virtually my calves have not changed in terms of the size. Now, moving up, we've got the left and right quads. So my right quad, I lost about an inch. So it was 26.44. And this week, as of today, it was 25.44. So I've lost 1 inch on my right quad. On my left quad, I lost 0.7 inches. So my left quad is 25.59. So if you actually take a look at the difference between those, on 6/2, which was the first measurement period, my left quad was smaller than my right quad. 2 weeks later, today, right, roughly, my left quad is bigger than my right quad. So that shifted, and it's similar to the calves, right? So when I started at the beginning of the month, my left calf was larger than my right calf by a small amount. 16.69 inches versus 16.58 inches. And now today, it is the opposite of that. My right calf is bigger. So if you're following along, my right leg seems to have increased in size or not lost as much as my left, because it is now it has flipped, or well, it flipped. So on the quad portion of it, when I first started, my right was bigger. Now my left is bigger, and it's the inverse of that for my calves. When I first started, left calf was bigger. Now the right calf is bigger. Now moving up, sorry if that was confusing. Moving up to my arms, I've lost exactly the same amount in my arms. 5'4" inches, so just about a little over half an inch in each arm. My left is 14.28 inches, and my right is 14.25 inches. So arm size are about the same. By the way, in the in-body analysis, go check that out, where I'm down about 8 pounds. There's that video on that, and I go through the body analysis breakdown from the in-body scan that I did. The next is the shoulders. So I was at 52, so that's basically trying to get at the widest point of my shoulders, and then just a standing relaxed pose. That was 52 inches. Now it is 51.5, so I've lost a ½ inch off my shoulders. Well, actually, the next is the vacuum. So that's working your transverse abdominis. If you don't know what that is, Google that. But the vacuum is a huge underutilized exercise, I believe, for core development and overall stability. I lost a little over 1 inch, 1.03 inches off of my vacuum. So this is almost think of it as I get flexed, right, for a bicep. So the measurement when it was flexed, but this is for the transverse abdominis to see how small the waist is when doing a vacuum. Originally I was at 32.5, and now I'm at 31.5. Just over 32.5. So I've lost 1 inch in the waist for a vacuum. Now coming into just the regular waist measurement, I am down to 1.17 inches on my waist. So I don't know if that's what you guessed in the comments down there, but I'm down 1.17 inches. I was at almost 37 inches. Now I'm down to 35.5 inches, or 35.75 inches. So 36.92 versus 35.75. So that's pretty substantial to be a whole inch smaller. And I definitely noticed this in my suit with the belt. It just feels a lot looser. Also, the jacket, my suit jacket seems like it's like fitting better. It's not so snug. Now my chest, which is the last measurement. My chest, I lost about 2 inches, 1.97 inches. So I think I've got some serious work to do in my chest. This past week, I actually did not lift chest. So when you look at these measurements, I think that this is probably slightly exaggerated from the standpoint that I think 2 days before I did the first measurement, I had done chest. So there's still some... probably a decent amount of leftover inflammation versus this time I didn't do chest for the last 7 days, so there's no inflammation there. So I think that had a big impact, because 2 inches is substantial. That's quite a big difference relative to everything else. I am actually going to be hitting chest today, and I'll probably hit chest twice this week. I was going to hit chest Friday, and I ended up not hitting chest on Friday, giving it another day of rest. The upper portion of my chest, right below my clavicle and going over to my shoulders, has been very, very tight. So I did some foam rolling and some stretching, so that hopefully today I can get an amazing pump on there. So if you were correct, let me know. I will like that comment or post it at the top, pin it at the top. Almost 2 inches on my chest, substantial. Now, left side versus right side. So what I did here is I added up my left arm, my left quad, and my left calf, and then I did the same for my right, and see what the total amount that I lost on my left side versus the total amount that I lost on my right side. 1.33 inches on my left, almost 1.5, 1.46 on my right. So my right side is losing at a faster rate than the other side. And if I aggregate all the measurements together and I take the delta of the two, what that basically means in layman terms is I add up all the measurements for the first time I measured, and then I add up all the measurements for the second time I measured, and I take the difference between the two of those. That's almost 7.5 inches that I lost in 16 days. 7.5 inches that I've lost. that's pretty substantial. I've never done any measurements like that, so if you guys have done any measurements like that, let me know down below in the comments. But I feel like 7.5 inches, 7.45 inches is a decent amount. I will hopefully later this week be doing another in-body scan, so if you want to follow along with that, make sure you press that subscribe button and follow along with this progress as I move forward. In an hour or two there will be another video updated with a physique update from where I currently am with my physique. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Let me know if you have any questions down below or reach out to me on Instagram. Link is in the description. Peace.